Hello, welcome back to Ever17 Out of Infinity. Several hours have passed since Sora's outburst. You, Coco, and the kid have finished their meal and moved to the rest area where they were relaxing and letting their food digest. Okay then. I'd almost finished tidying up the kiosk. I pulled out the object I had secretly hidden behind the warmer. Actually, there had been one sausage left at the back of the refrigerator. There were no hot dog buns, so I stuffed the sausage into a bread roll. I slapped on ketchup and mustard and took a big bite. This is so good! My mouth filled with the juicy flavor as I bit down. Yum. Fried chicken sandwiches were good, but not every meal. Every single day. I hid in the back of the kiosk and devoured the sausage. Surprised by Sora's voice, I choked on a piece of sausage. Sora appeared in front of me. Blinking and struggling, I finally managed to swallow the chunk of meat. I swallowed the rest of the sausage in one bite to remove the evidence. I struggled to control my breathing. Sora! I actually coughed right there. I choked a little bit. Not a word about what you just saw, okay? Oh, well, if you don't know, it doesn't matter. As usual, Sora feigned ignorance. It looked like she didn't remember my love psychology lecture. It was just as well. Oh, really? Surprised, I blinked. You were able to talk with Tsugumi? Oh. Apologize, Tsugumi? I was surprised. No, I was really surprised. A strange question? What did she ask? And? Oh. It was a strange question. Where's Tsugumi now? I said this trying to restrain my sense of urgency. Bed? She went back to the infirmary, went to bed. Okay. Are you sure? Is that where she is now? Probably, huh? Can you check to make sure Tsugumi isn't wandering around instead of taking it easy? I nodded, but Sora looked troubled. What's wrong? All it takes is a quick scan. What? Sora's smile was slightly uncomfortable. Sora went to check on Lemmy, and I went to the second floor infirmary. I hope she's resting properly. Hey, Tsugumi, can I come in? I spoke into the intercom and opened the door. The infirmary was quiet again. All the smashed equipment had been tidied up. Sure enough, Tsugumi was there. Oh, you really are in bed. I don't believe it. Perhaps sensing my presence, Tsugumi opened her eyes.
うるさいわね。
Her voice was normal.
私がここにいない方が良かった？
No, no, not at all. I was just surprised, that's all.
驚いた？
Yeah, surprised. You came back.
ええ。まあね。あの区画からは戻ってくるしかないわ。どこにも行けないもの。
Hey, that's not what I... no, never mind. Anyway, I'm glad you're back.
よかった。
Yeah, glad. Relieved?
ふん。
Tsugumi looked at me intently. As she spoke, she lay back down and slowly closed her
あんなに
eyes.
大声出さないでくれる？少し頭が痛むの。音が頭に響くから。
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Hey, you hungry? You want me to make you a sandwich?
ええ。頼むわ。
Okay, I'll go get you one. Wait right here. I'll be back soon, okay? So don't move. I try not to make any noise as I left. As soon as I got out of the infirmary, I sprinted to the 3rd floor. The kiosk had been cleaned up, but I turned the fryer back on and heated the chicken. I hurried, but worked carefully. I heated the bread and browned it slightly. I spread on the special sauce and chose the best piece of lettuce. Hurriedly wrapping the hot sandwich, I left the kiosk. I sprinted back to the infirmary. I had been away less than 10 minutes. She was probably sick of waiting. I punched the open button until the door opened. Sorry I took so long. I called out softly as I approached the quiet bed. I took more trouble with this than usual. It's a masterpiece. Eat it before it gets cold. Huh? Maybe she was asleep. I approached the bed, but there was no answer. Hey, Tsugumi. Tsugumi, here's your food. A delicious sandwich. Get it while it's hot. I called softly, but there was no response. Tsugumi! I tried yelling. I said, here's your food! Are you going to eat it? Say something! I pulled back the blanket on the bed. Tsugumi wasn't there. The bed was still slightly warm. She's gone! I told her not to move. I let out a deep sigh. I held my head in my hands. I resisted the urge to throw the sandwich against the wall. Where on earth did that stupid girl run off to? Without thinking about it, I stamped my foot. I felt something hard under my shoe. Huh? I lifted my foot and looked down. Whatever I had stepped on was pulverized under my feet. The small pieces smelled faintly. I bent down and spread them out on my hands. Looks like nuts. Glancing under the bed, I found a rolled up sheet stuffed underneath. I pulled it out. I found a bag which had probably contained the nuts in an empty box. They looked like souvenirs bought at some shop. Were these here when we searched the place? Had Tsugumi smuggled them in? Was she eating them in secret? No, that explanation didn't feel quite right. I thought the nuts were crushed because I had stepped on them, but there was also a large amount of powder under the bed. Someone had deliberately crushed the nuts. I pulled the box from the powder under the bed and glanced inside. A section of the lid had been torn off, and the box was caught off all in the center. Yes, it looked like the nest of some small animal. I considered the evidence. The cotton in the box and the scattered pieces of nut. Did Tsugumi have some kind of pet? It seemed a reasonable conclusion. In that case, maybe she's gone looking for her pet? But where exactly? I couldn't ask Sora. I called Sora from the infirmary terminal, but she didn't appear. Yes. I looked at the map of Limu on the monitor, but could detect no signs of life. Where in the vicinity would Wami's I don't know, would there be a large terminal functioning? Of course, the security office. If I went there, I'd probably learn something. I left the infirmary and turned left down a corridor. When I arrived at the security office, I opened the door and flew inside. There was somebody already there. Tsugumi was sitting in a chair in front of the console. She was engrossed in something and didn't notice me come in. She was doing something at the console. On the screen was a zoomed-in section of a map. A strange point of light was moving across the enlarged section of the map. The light indicated a sign of life. She hit the key. One portion of the screen changed, and the remote camera zoomed in on whatever was reacting. A living creature was visible on the monitor. Tsugumi breathed a sigh of relief. A rat? At the sound of my whisper, Tsugumi swung around. She blinked. It's a rat, isn't it? A gray rat was running along a pipe. The map showed the isolated sector on the 3rd floor. Is it that rat you're looking for? Tsugumi was obviously flustered. I looked under your bed and saw the box. There were nuts everywhere. What do you have to say about that girl, huh? She looked away. You don't have to answer if you don't want to. Anyway, I wonder how that dirty rodent got here. Tsugumi's voice was suddenly hysterical. I was a little taken aback. It's not a rat? Oh. Oh. Really? Oh, so that's what it's called, a Dundurian. Huh? You're pretty knowledgeable, Tsugumi. Her chest puffed out slightly. So you were looking for that rat? Oh, sorry, not rat, but hamster. You were looking for the hamster? Tsugumi seemed to nod her head reluctantly. The movement was so small I wasn't even sure if she had made it. Tsugumi looked back at the monitor. Pipe? Oh, I see. Her finger traced the map. Nobody could walk to where the hamster was. The top right of the screen showed an area underwater. It seemed there was one room empty. It was even further away than the isolated area on the 3rd floor. It wasn't very clear in this map, but there was one emergency corridor in the sector. I committed Limu's map to memory. Geez, I guess I'll just have to... I grabbed a plastic bag from the trash can and headed for the exit. Where do you think I'm going? I'm going to go get him. That funny-looking hamster. I ignored her and left the security office. I began to walk toward the place I had in mind. Tsugumi caught up with me and grabbed my arm. What now? If I don't get going, Mr. Hamster is going to move to another place. How else? Swim. Tsugumi's hand relaxed. Still in her grip, I kept moving. Tsugumi came with me. I'm going through with this. You don't have to worry about that. The hamster's in an area directly connected to the flooded emergency corridor. The water in that area is 1 atmosphere of pressure, so the flooded corridor should be about the same. Besides, the floodgates on either side of the corridor are firmly shut. That corridor is completely isolated from the outside seawater. The entrance on the other side is open. If I use the flooded corridor beneath the room, I can get into the next area. Why don't you go back and check the map? 153 feet. I made sure to check it before.
そう51メートルもあるのよ。
Oh. It'll be alright. I swam to one end back of a 25-meter pool underwater once. I kicked out the far end while coming back, but still. So, yeah. I waved my hands to dismiss it. Tsugumi's expression hardened.
そんな。
Oh.
やっぱりあなた正気じゃないわ。死ぬつもり？
Tsugumi breathed in sharply. I'll be alright. I wonder if you can make it. It's alright, I won't die. I promise I'll
ど
come
うして
back.
そこまでしてハムスター1匹にまで。どうして？
What else can I do? We're all in this together. Maybe you're not one of us, but any pet you have is one of us. In Japan, people with the same goal are called friends.
バカみたい。
And that doesn't bother me. I'd rather be a cheerful idiot than some work genius. We took EI down to the 3rd floor. From there, we walked around along the corridor to the isolated sector. Anyway, you may as well eat this. The fried chicken sandwich was still in my hand. I shoved it at Tsugumi. Here, before it gets cold. Tsugumi's face showed no reaction as she silently accepted the sandwich. Tsugumi slowly unwrapped the sandwich. She cautiously sipped it. Tsugumi suddenly took a huge bite. You like it? She ate it fast. Oh, the sandwich disappeared before my eyes. How was it? Good, huh? Tsugumi didn't reply, but balled up the sandwich wrapping paper and threw it back at me. But seeing how happily she ate, I didn't need words to know how she felt. I was pleased. We arrived at the pipe room. We searched the floor and opened the hatch of the manhole that led to the emergency corridor. We peered inside. A tube of about 2 feet in diameter stretched out below us. A simple ladder was fixed on one side of the tube. About 6 feet down, we could see the submerged emergency light shining. We could find no signs as we peered through the hatch that the water was backflowing. That meant that the water pressure inside the corridor was balanced against the pressure around us. I wonder if there's something I can use to guide me back. Fortunately, there was a rope with a hook on it, which looked as if it were a lifeline for the maintenance crew. I decided to hold on to it when I went in. Checking that the rope was long enough, I tied it firmly to a pipe nearby. If I tied it to the hook where I came out, then it should be easy to return. Alright then. I did some light stretching exercises to warm up.
待って。やっぱり。私が行くわ。
No. Huh? I already said I would. Tsugumi stared me square in the face.
勘違いしないで。私はあなたができないと分かっていることをわざわざあなたにしてもらおうとは思ってない。私はあなたと違うの。バカじゃないの。ここの出来が違うのよ。
Tsugumi tapped her head.
だから私が行くわ。
What's your problem? I can't believe you're being like that at a time like this. That's not a nice thing to say. I'll be fine. You go back to the security office. When I get through to the other side, you can tell me where the hamster is. We won't be able to locate him without Lemmy, will we?
そうね。
Yeah, is it? Why don't you use that superior intellect of yours to think of something? Unless someone who can operate Lemmy stays behind, it won't work. Tsugumi laughed.
大丈夫よ。たけしを見習って気合と根性で何とかしてみるから。
Now, wait just a... She punched me. Tsugumi punched me.
じゃあね。
Tsugumi took the rope hook and went down the ladder. Before long, she disappeared from view. The rope stretched into the water. Holding my stomach, I sunk to my knees. She got me with a solid body blow and I couldn't stand up. She hit really hard. I can't believe her. I seem to remember getting punched like that by someone wearing a mascot costume. Was that Tsugumi? Ugh. I was suddenly dizzy. My stomach was in agony. Not where I'd been punched. I was suffering from a totally different pain. I reached for the pipe and tried to stand up, but my hand grasped at thin air. My vision clouded. I coughed and spat. From my mouth was the semi-liquid remains of my hot dog. What the? I felt a chill as I lost consciousness. When I regained consciousness, I was lying half in a pool of water. Where am I? Oh, it's the pipe room. What happened to Tsugumi? In front of me, I could see the rope disappearing into the hatch. That's right, she's looking for the hamster. I have to get to the security office. Tsugumi will need navigation. Sorry, I'll be right there. Oh, did she make it? Oh. With a startled look on her face, Tsugumi poured out of the hatch. Haha! She pulled up the rope as she stood up and closed the hatch. I slowly got off the floor. How'd it go, Tsugumi? Aww. Oh. I hoped we could catch him. Just let me check then. What does this hamster look like? Like that? I pointed at a small rodent running along a nearby pipe.
Takeshi.
What? Seeing the rodent, Tsugumi's eyes got huge. I had no idea what to say. The small furry animal noticed Tsugumi and me and froze, his eyes fixed on us. Well then, I reached out my hands. Gotcha! What? Just like that? I didn't think I'd catch him so quickly. The stunned hamster lay quietly in my hand. Whoa, nice catch! What? Tsugumi snatched the rat from my hand. She stroked it gently as if she were consoling it. Huh? What? Is that really a rat? I mean, what are you doing with that thing in the first place? I was taken aback. Oh. Tsugumi spat the words out. She pouted as she glared at me. Okay, he's not a rat. He's Chami. Chami? That hamster's name is Chami? Embarrassed, he bowed her head. Anyway, that is what you were looking for? She nodded silently. Okay, well, great. That was lucky, wasn't it? Anyway, we've caught him.
Takeshi.
Her voice was quiet and expressionless. Ugh. Ouch. She knocked me down and bolted from the room. She was soaking wet and still clutching Chami. What is with that chick? I wanted to tell her how glad I was that she was okay. It seemed I had missed my chance. Suddenly, I listened to her footsteps grow fainter. So that's what happened. Several hours had elapsed since the hunt for Chami. I had asked Sora I asked Sora to come with me to the souvenir kiosk on the second floor.
でもよかったですね。小町さんのお友達が無事に見つかって。
Yeah. Her friend. Well, as far as Tsugumi was concerned, it was her friend.
この売店で食料を探すという話だったと思いますが。
Was that right? It was quiet all around. There was no one around. You, the kid, and Coco were in the conference room preparing for bed. Tsugumi was probably asleep in the infirmary. We looked pretty thoroughly last time and didn't find anything.
ですけど、ここにナッツやクッキーが置いてあるって、私一目見てすぐに分かりましたよ。ほら。
Sora pointed to the packets in the kiosk. Oh, really? There was a mountain of packets just like the one I had found under the bed in the infirmary. I guess we were all half asleep when we looked last time. Well, we don't need to worry about food for the time being.
タツタサンドもまだしばらくは食べられるんですよね。
Yes, there are plenty. I don't know what the expiration date on them is, but there should be enough for 2 or 3 more days.
そうですか。
Yeah. Oh, okay. We kept talking for a while. It was an ordinary conversation with no fixed theme and nothing to do with the topic of escape. I wonder what the weather is like up there.
今の私には地上の状態を知る手立てはありませんけど、海中の様子からすると比較的穏やかな感じがしますね。これから先も大荒れになることはないと思います。
That's reassuring.
はい。
Half the meaning was probably lost. I thought that perhaps this conversation could be an opportunity. I searched for the right words. Listen, Sora. I want to talk about something serious.
え、倉成さんもですか？実は私もなんです。
Really? Okay, after you, ladies first.
いえ、倉成さんからおっしゃってください。
To tell you the truth, I'm a little embarrassed.
私だって恥ずかしいです。
Okay, I'll go first. You go first. Let's both say it at the same time. I'll go first. Okay, I'll go first. It's about the lecture today. The love psychology lecture. I scratched my head as I spoke. Did you forget it already?
いいえ、私もね、あの講義のことが心残りだったんですよ。
Sora's cheeks were bright red. We were reflected on the glass of the kiosk. Sora twinkled as he spoke.
私ね、あの講義についてですけど、ココちゃんはなんだか怖がってましたし、田中さんは少し怒っていらしたんですけど、でも倉成さんが間違ったことを言ったわけではないんじゃないかなってそう思ってたんです。
Neither do I. I think my examples may have been a little extreme, but I think my basic message was right.
ですよね。
Yeah.
ええ、倉成先生、続きをしてほしいです。もっといろいろ教えてください。私の知らないことを教えてください。
Alright then, Miss Anagasaki. The lecture resumed. After our study, she was the only one participating in my lecture. No one else was listening. It was a lecture for one-on-one. Alright then, Sora, we're going to get back to the basics. I played it up a little.
先生、質問です。
What is it?
先生、お昼の時となんだかキャラが違うみたいですが。
I pretended to clear my throat. The professor is practicing speaking like a professor. Let's not worry about how to talk. The way you're talking is fine. There are gentlemen who prefer gentle voices. I went into the kiosk alone. Inside the kiosk, which had not been used since the second flood, was strewn with colorful stationery and merchandise.
倉成先生、私はどうしたらいいんでしょうか。
Just stand there.
はい。
Sora was waiting just outside the kiosk. I jumped over the counter. I brushed aside the stuff that was lying around and went over to the window. Alright then, Sora.
はい、何でしょうか、先生。
Come a little closer. From inside the kiosk, I beckoned to Sora. Sora approached the glass. She stopped about a yard away.
倉成さん、これ以上近づくと RSD 映像の表示限界が。
Don't be so unromantic, you'll spoil the mood.
だって私、平べったく映ってしまうかもしれませんよ。
Embarrassed, she bowed her head. It's alright, it doesn't matter. Repeat after me. It's alright.
大丈夫、大丈夫。
Blushing furiously, Sora timidly approached the window, slowly, one step at a time. That's it. Before long, Sora and I faced each other through the thin sheet of
来まし
glass.
た。先生、私の格好変じゃありませんか？
Don't worry. I told you it was alright, didn't I? Her image was warping a little, but it was nothing serious. Alright then, practice.
はい、緊張しますね。
Well, don't let me make you nervous. Relax, relax. Okay, repeat.
リラックス、リラックス。
In my hand, I held a marker pen that I had picked up off the floor. It was a red water-based pen. I was a red water-based pen. Alright then, you know, I thought you were a traditional Japanese girl.
そうなんですか？
Pure and sincere, luckily. But I felt that as a 24-year-old, you were looking a little something. Lacking a little something. Color, the look of a grown woman. Sora was standing on the other side of the spotless glass. I took the cap off the pen and traced the line of Sora's lips. The fastest way to give you color is with makeup. With conservative makeup like yours, you won't even attract doctors or lawyers. Your makeup has to be more feminine. Ah, she already
おっ
looks
しゃっ
good.
ている意味がよくわからないのですが。
A picture is worth 1,000 words. I carefully drew her lipstick.
なんだかくすぐったいですね。
Stand still. This is difficult.
私動いてませんよ。
Maybe my hand wasn't used to the angle anyway, it was shaking a little. I drew her eye line, gave her mascara and rouge, and colored in her eyebrows. Alright, you're done. Finished. What a work of art. What if I would give it a title? I'd call it. Yes, I'd call it Butterfly of the Night.
先生、これが
What?
ギャルっぽいメイクなのでしょうか？
Well... Yeah, she already looked good. Not quite. It's actually... over the top. Really over the top. It was a complete failure. It looked like a child scribbling.
でも私、こんなの見たことありません。なんか斬新です。
I've never seen anything you like
ひょっと
this.
すると素敵かもしれません。
I wouldn't be so sure about that. You really think so?
先生、違うんですか？やっぱり。
What do you mean? Miss Anagasaki? It's all wrong. I tried to rub the lipstick off with my hand, but it wouldn't come off. The more I tried to wipe it off, the more the lipstick spread on her face.
先生、
Ah.
これこそがギャルっぽいメイクなのでしょうか？
All around Sora's mouth was stained red. Miss Anagasaki. Not exactly. Without meaning to, I laughed.
先生？
I'm sorry. But it's certainly a change. I was apologizing, but I couldn't stop laughing.
もう倉成先生、人の顔で遊ばないでください。
Then Sora started to laugh as well. We both collapsed laughing. The sound of our laughter filled the silence of the nighttime kiosk. It had been ages since I had laughed like that. And after we had laughed for a while, Sora moved over to the next window. Okay, again. Sora's face became serious. Alright, okay, then... Alright, this time, I promise you perfect feminine beauty. I picked up the pen again and faced the glass. I faced it, but... Nothing. I didn't draw anything with the pen. I stared deep into Sora's eyes through the glass. Her glossy lips were forming my name. Let's not do this. You don't need makeup, yep. You don't need makeup, Sora, you're already beautiful, yep. Yeah, she is. I'm not teasing you, I mean it. I could see Sora blushing. She bowed her head, her eyes searching around. No more playing teacher. Sora slowly raised her head and looked me in the eyes. Sora, your hands. Put your hands here. I put my hands against the glass. Sora placed her hands where mine were. Right against left, left against right. Separated only by a pane of glass, our hands were touching. It felt strange. What should be a barrier between us was actually the only thing joining us. Without something between us, we couldn't touch. But on either side of this glass, we were able to confirm the existence of the other. It felt as if my hands were touching Sora's body. Sora's face was there in front of me, mere inches from me. We were so close I could hear her breathing. I thought that I could probably even take her in my arms. Go ahead. He said he was 20, right? And she's 24. So she's a little older. I don't know, I couldn't answer. Sora's eyes glistened with tears as she stared at me. The glass in the window was shaking. Sora's warmth spread to my hand. But it was just an illusion. If I closed my eyes, Sora disappeared. But in my hand, I could feel the warmth like sunshine, even if the warmth was just an illusion. Sora existed there and then, of that I was certain. Darkness spread out before my eyes. Without limit, it spread nothingness. The void was endless. And I was in the middle of it. I could find nothing by which to judge distance. I searched for light, but couldn't even see the movement of my body. There was nothing below my feet. Nothing held me up. And so I fell. I fell. Deeper and deeper, I sank into the void. Further and further. No, that wasn't it. It seemed to me rather that the darkness was coming toward me. It approached me at a terrifying speed. But there was no sound. Yet it was creeping closer and closer. And finally it penetrated me. There was no way for me to shake it off. It seemed completely into me. Seeped completely into me. It was strange, but there was no feel to it. The blackness invaded and settled inside me. It overtook me, never to part again. I'm becoming the darkness. The darkness is becoming me. My body becoming the darkness itself. The void was endless. It had no ceiling. Nothing existed to cover it. It was an abyss. Everything was buried in the pitch black. and the dark of the night was crushing me. That is how everyone dies. I was dying. I was dead. Death. When I awoke, my shirt was soaked with sweat. What an awful way to start the day. I pulled out my PDA to check the time. It read 3:18 a.m. But all drowsiness had left me. Attempting sleep again would have been a waste of time. I thought I'd only have another nightmare. Nearby, I could hear soft breathing. Coco and Peepee were nestled together comfortably asleep. Trying not to wake them, I opened the conference room door and sneaked out. Another dream. Okay. Outside, the hallway seemed endless. For a moment, I had the illusion it went on forever. Stop being stupid. Without hesitation, I stepped into the cold water filling the hallway. I realized how oddly accustomed I'd grown to the spectacle of this strange situation, this daily routine, being continually enclosed by walls. Walls that, in a matter of time, were doomed to come crashing down. Where will I be when it happens? I decided not to think too deeply about it. I had already decided not to think about things like that. Climbing the emergency stairway, I headed towards White Stalk. Reaching the infirmary, I pushed the button to open the door. She's not here. The bed was empty. The spilled nuts were gone. I wondered if Tsugumi had cleaned them up, or was it someone else? In the meantime, no one was in the room. Reaching out to the Lemmy terminal, I touched the screen. No reaction. The monitor lights were out. I walked toward the security office. I thought that maybe the terminal there would be online. Opening the door, I hesitated at the smell. As always, the room smelled like smoke. I tried the terminal. The screen read, "Periodic maintenance in progress." The message continued. Lemmy full system periodic maintenance program in operation. Until completion, portions of Lemmy functions are inaccessible. Estimated completion time 6 a.m. While under maintenance, automatic control systems throughout the compound will be partially offline. However, facilities and attractions will operate normally. Note, since all sensors and recording systems operations will be checked during maintenance, function may be erratic. Therefore, it would not be possible to access data through the terminals. Warning: this maintenance program should not be aborted except in cases of emergency. If aborted, there is a danger of making the Lemmy system unstable. Therefore, please refrain from accessing Lemmy until after maintenance completion. Thank you for your cooperation. Additional note: until the maintenance completes, I will be unavailable. Everybody should be asleep at this time anyway, right? I informed everyone about this operation at dinner time, but in case any of you forgot what I said, I am leaving this message. That is all. Good night. Sora. Well, how about that? Geez, Sora, I guess you forgot to tell me about this. Or then again, maybe I just wasn't listening. I was probably busy eyeing that extra piece of sausage in the refrigerator, trying not to be seen by the others as I hid the sausage, and later cooked it up. I'd been gloating over it until being caught, and then, certainly not expecting to be throwing it up only a half an hour later. Was I stupid or what? I was lucky it wasn't worse. Oddly enough, I hadn't felt hungry since. Anyway, having no particular place to go, I found myself in front of an elevator. I'll push the button! Okay, with no clear reason in mind, I pushed the elevator call button. Why not? All I did was make a noise. The elevator showed no sign of blood. But of course. All of the elevators in this section of the compound had been shut down.
Konbanwa.
Hearing a voice from behind me, I turned my head, and there was Tsugumi standing quietly.
ねえ、何してたの？そんなところにいてもエレベーターは来るわけないわよ。
I didn't have an answer to give.
どうしたの、たけし？聞こえてないの？
I couldn't help but laugh.
ちょっと、どうしちゃったの？
Yeah, me too.
なんで笑ってるのよ。
Tsugumi seemed slightly disturbed. It's nothing, no special reason. It was just that, well, I thought your question was pointless. At first, Tsugumi started to frown, but then she laughed back at me.
少しはあなたもわかるようになったのね。
I suppose. I was just out for a little walk. What have you been doing? That's okay. You don't have to answer.
だったら聞かないでよ。
Turning her eyes away, Tsugumi frowned slightly. Looking at the floor, she seemed lost in thought. After a moment, she lifted her eyes and spoke.
ねえ、たけし。クバレって知ってる？
Yeah, a quail?
そう、クバレ。
I know. I think I remember. Yeah, I know what it is. It's the Jellyfish Gondola attraction. Right?
ええ、そうよ。
So, what about it?
クバレはこのエレベータールームのすぐ裏手にあるの。
Yeah, come to think about it, you're right. And then we both fell silent. Tsugumi started to giggle and gave me a hard look. We both knew what we were going to do next. With Tsugumi in the lead, we headed for the qual entrance. Say, how do you make this thing work?
さあね。
Go figure. Come on, tell me.
スイッチは入ってるから乗れば勝手に動き出すわ。
That's it?
さっき試してみたから確かよ。
Well, if you say so. Wait a second, you've already tried it?
ええ、試したの。
Tsugumi's face looked troubled as if she'd been caught at something. You're saying you wrote it alone?
一人じゃない。
So, who was with you?
誰かとじゃない。そのつまりチャミと一緒に。
You mean your hamster?
そうよ。
In other words, one adult and one critter. You wrote qual with Chami?
そうよ。何度も言わせないで。
Well, then how was it? Fun?
チャミはすぐ寝ちゃったわ。退屈だったみたい。でも私はそんなことどうでもいいでしょ。意味がない質問よ。
Tsugumi hadn't said much, which was a lot more than usual. In other words, you were lonely, huh? If I was there, I could have cheered you up.
何が安心なのよ。
Well, you know, you've been through a lot. And I thought maybe the two of us together would. But then suddenly Tsugumi's expression lost its tension. All of a sudden she let out a laugh. Hey, what's going on with you? Did I say something stupid?
別に全然意味なんじゃないの。笑ってみたかっただけ。
And then suddenly her expression hardened again. But then again, I thought that a slight smile still remained on her face.
行きましょう。
Okay, if you say so. Together, we got inside the ride. Immediately after the hatch closed, the gondola began to move forward smoothly. It was just as Tsugumi had said. The jellyfish-shaped gondola picked up speed and headed toward the outskirts of Zoidstock. The corrugated tube carrying the gondola wrapped its way along the perimeter of the floor. Floating comfortably inside the tube, the gondola skirted its way
あ
along.
なたに質問したいことがあった。
Ooh, what is it?
聞いておきたかった。確認しておきたかった。
It was strange that Tsugumi would have something she wanted to say just to me. Her behavior seemed extremely odd.
おかしいね。おかしいけど、そうなのよ。わからなくなってしまいそうなの。おかしくなってしまいそうなの。
Huh?
ねえ、あなたはどこにいるの？
Out of nowhere, she asked me again. What do you mean, where? I'm right here.
ここってどこ？
You know, here is here, right? I beat the palm of my hand against my chest.
爪切ったことある？
What's up with you all of a sudden? Tsugumi leaned over urgently right in front of my face. In her eyes I could see something, like a distant light. I could just glimpse the tip of her tongue, wet and
いい
smooth.
から。爪切ったことある？
Of course I have.
じゃあ、その切り取られた爪にあなたはいる？
What do you mean?
爪にあなたはいるの？
No, I guess once it's gone from my body, it's not me anymore. The same goes for hair.
だったらここにくっついている
Ouch. I reflexively put my hand to my head. Tsugumi had yanked out a couple strands.
これはたけしじゃないんだ。
Tsugumi held the hair up, waving it around. That's tough. It isn't me, but I guess you could call it X-me.
じゃあ腕を引きちぎったら
You gotta be kidding! Tsugumi grabbed my arm. And before I could react, I was drawn into her body. Although she wasn't abnormally strong, I found it impossible to resist her. It was a natural flowing movement. Inside the white gondola, Tsugumi's body covered mine. I could feel her breath. I could feel her pulse. I could feel the warmth of her body. I could smell her scent. The smell of musk. It made me slightly dizzy.
腕を引きちぎったら
Gazing intensely at me, Tsugumi continued shooting me questions.
その腕にたけしはいるの
No, I suppose I wouldn't be there.
じゃあ足をちぎったら胴を切り離したら脳を取り出したら
Still gazing at me, she moved her hands and put them on my neck. Felt like I was being hunted. The illusion was intense. She looked straight at me. Oh, I couldn't shake myself away from her gaze. I peered deeply into her eyes. It felt like I was being sucked inside her. Those eyes full of that distant light. I wonder where the light originated from.
ね
Huh.
えたけしはどこにいるの
I'm... Where am I? Oh. Me, Takeshi Kurenari. Since the moment I was born, I existed as one person, one continuous, linear, cohesive individual. There was no doubt about that fact. The me as a baby in the photo album, the me running around in elementary school, and finally the me sitting there. They were all the same organism called Kurenari Takeshi. So where exactly did the entity called me exist? In the past, people thought the soul existed in a person's heart. Descartes believed the soul inhabited the pineal gland in the brain. The brain. I wondered briefly if I existed only in my memories. But if that were the truth, then if I lost my memory like the kid, wouldn't that mean I was no longer Kurenari Takeshi? Thoughts, senses, emotions, sensations, character, values. All those things were nothing but functions of the organ called the brain. For one thing, the me that ran around in elementary school was composed of different molecules than the me there. From purely a material point of view, my younger me was entirely different than my older me. Cells die and are replaced daily. Every cell that is replaced will also die. They say the cells in the entire human body are completely replaced every 3 to 5 years. By comparison, a rock would be composed of the exact same molecules 5 years before or 5 years hence. But a human body was different. The cells of me 5 years ago were not the same as the cells of me then. Even so, the me of 5 years before and the me then were definitely the same. Then just what was it that defined me? And where did that me exist? This is deep. All this time, Tsugumi continued to hold my neck with her hands. Little by little, she began to apply more pressure. After a time, it became difficult to breathe. My mind began to fog over. I was slowly drifting toward chaos.
そうあなたという存在に実体はない。あなたはただの概念だから。情報、ソフトウェアと言ってもいいかもしれない。CD に焼かれた情報に実体はある。 CD はただのプラスチック、ポリカーボネートという物質の塊。それは情報とは何の関連もない。情報の実体なんかであるはずもない。情報に形はないの。ただ専用のアプリケーションを用いることによってのみ情報は具現化される。しかし具現化されたその情報の形さえ本質ではない。本質は情報それ自体を指すのだから。たけしも同じ。たけしという本質に実体はない。なぜなら倉成たけしという人間の本質はただの概念、情報、ソフトウェアに過ぎない。 それは肉体というハードによってのみ再現される。そう、肉体はハードウェア、たけしという本質を具現化するためのただの道具。
Why do you... I spit out the words with difficulty. How come you are... Was I making any sense to her? I couldn't tell. The weight of Tsugumi's whole body was on my neck.
ダメ。ダメよ。ダメなのよ。
For an instant, her grip loosened slightly.
私は逃れることができない。この忌まわしい肉体に縛り付けられたまま、私の本質は自由になれない。
Tsugumi became teary-eyed. So that was the light deep in her eyes. Tears.
たけし、私を殺して。
What? Why? Half falling on her side, she grabbed my wrists. She tried to force my hands to her own neck.
殺して。
What are you talking about? I broke away from her grasp. Why are you talking like this?
そうなの。
Tsugumi muttered, her voice shaking, and her gaze drifted off.
臆病なのね。育児のない男。所詮あなたは男じゃないのよ。
That's got nothing to do with this.
お願い、殺してよ。できないの？
Are you crazy? There's no way I could do such a thing.
どうしてできないのよ。
Of course I can't. I don't need a reason. I don't want to. Why do you want to die so badly anyway? Why do you need someone to kill you?
お願い。だから。
Forget it.
どうしても嫌だっていうの。
You're darn right I'm unwilling.
そう。だったら分かったわ。私が先にあなたを殺してあげるから。
With all her strength, Tsugumi slammed me to the floor and started choking me. Ugh.
殺してあげる。あなたを。そして。
What is happening with you, girl? Why are you doing this? With all her strength, she slammed me down. Slammed me down. And slammed me down. Again and again. Stop it. I would die if she kept it up. No, I was dying. If she doesn't stop, I'm a goner. Attempting to force her off, I scratched her. Something red started to drip from her lips. It was blood. She's bleeding. Blood mixed with tears. Suddenly her shadow loomed over me. I couldn't see a thing. And then her mouth closed on mine. Our lips pressed hard together. My mouth was filled with the taste of her blood and tears. Oh,
殺してやる。殺してやる。 一人にしないで。私を一人にしないで。お願い。たけし。お願い。
Darkness surrounded me. Or maybe I wasn't there at all. A darkness without awareness. I heard only the slight rustle of clothing and Tsugumi's voice. Sigh. Hearing that sound, I felt a craziness swell up inside me. Two shadows overlapped to become one, and I plunged into the chaos further and further and became one. I don't know if I want to be around her anymore. Afterwards, I went straight back to the conference room. Both my mind and body were exhausted. Even though little remained of the night, I slept soundly. When I awoke, I felt refreshed and fully recharged. Apparently, no one had noticed my disappearance during the night.
皆さん、おはようございます。あ、おはよう。おはよう、ソラさん。おはよう。
Yeah, hi there, Sora. A little later than usual, Sora presented herself in the conference room.
どうだった、ソラ。メンテナンス順調だったのかな。ええ、はい。システムコンディションは正常です。もっとも設備の物理的破損については改善のしようがないのですが、無事メンテナンスは終了しました。前回において通常と変わりない機能をお届けできることを保証します。そっか、よかった。私、茜ヶ崎空については診断の結果、若干の思考ノイズがあることが発見されましたが、業務上問題はないものとされ、そのままになっています。ねえねえ、ソラさん、思考ノイズって何？あ、ココちゃん、それはね、時々私にいたずらをしようとするお客さんがいるんですよ。嘘を教えたり、意地悪をして混乱させたり、それで私の記憶や反応がちょっと変になってしまうことがあるんです。そういうのが思考ノイズなんです。あらかじめ持っている知識と新しい情報とどちらが正しいのか判断できなくなってしまって、あまりひどいとシステムをいじって記憶を書き換えることになります。でも今回はそんなトラブルは起こっていませんから安心してくださいね。あとはそうですね、皆さんが眠っていた間の館内センサーの記録のチェックはまだ行われていません。新たな浸水などは起こっていないと思いますけど、早めに記録を確認して状況をご報告しますね。
うん、そら、頼んだよ。
はい、お任せください。そうそう、レミ端末はメンテによってレスポンスが向上したはずです。レミのトラフィックに問題があったのですが、この問題を解決。現在のレミューの状態に合わせ端末の通信機能は最適化されました。
Hey Sora, what do you mean by traffic? I'd like to know more about what exactly was tweaked in the terminals.
それでは皆さん、そろそろ食事に行きましょうか。
What? Is it me, or did she just totally ignore my question? Oh well. Perhaps she just couldn't hear me. Everybody relocated to the chicken sandwich shop. And as always, I cooked up breakfast for everyone. Looking at their faces as they ate, I suddenly felt relieved. The faces of you, Coco, and the kids seemed so happy. So I just stood by quietly watching them enjoy the meal. However, Tsugumi was nowhere to be seen. After breakfast, we each had plenty of free time, but there was nothing in particular to do. Nothing then that just had to be done. So without any reason, we all just ended up gathering in the rest area. As always, the vases were filled with blossoming flowers, margarites, marigolds, and roses. Apparently the flowers were watered periodically by mist from the sprinkler system, helping them maintain their freshness. I didn't see Sora anywhere, but then again, she did say she hadn't finished checking the sensor data. She probably had gone to the control room. It seemed that she could concentrate on performing operations better there. You, who had been talking with Sora earlier, was strolling alone around the top of the circular stage in the middle of the room. The kid, Coco, and Pee-Pee were chasing each other playfully through the water. I had a feeling I had seen this all before. After having a good stretch, I watched Coco and the others play. The three of them, two kids and an animal circling the stone statue, they were playing a game of chase, not really caring who was it. Without seeming to get bored, they kept running around and around. I seemed to be making more effort than they were just watching them. What a sight. It looked like fun, but I quickly gave up any idea of joining in. At any rate, Tsugumi had yet to make an appearance this morning. Just in case, I had left a sandwich for her at the kiosk. I don't know if she'll actually eat it or not. What would I say to her if I met her? So talking to her again would be awkward. She had told me while we were on the Jellyfish Gondola. Kill me. I couldn't. There was no possible way I could do such a thing. But still. Why did I feel like I had messed up somehow? Something had come over me. There was nothing I could do. I glanced up and noticed Coco and the others had stopped playing. Huh, what is she doing? With a worried look on his face, the kid was watching Coco intently. BB2 had his eyes on her. In the middle of the rest area stood 4 stone statues. Coco was deliberately attempting to scale one of the pedestals. With a heave, she began to climb up the side. Is she going to do this again, right? It was an odd sight. I ran to the kid as he stood frozen, watching her. Stumbling as she mounted the pedestal, Coco ended up embracing the statue.
Coco, 一体何やってるの?
The kid asked her curtly. Perched on top of the pedestal, Coco said this, smiling triumphantly.
ねえ、ココ。そのためだけにそこに登ったの?
Coco answered with her head cocked. Which area? Coco stroked the statue's back sympathetically with her tiny hand. Uttering a stream of nonsense, Coco suddenly produced a flathead screwdriver in her right hand. And then another one appeared in her left hand. Hey, where did she get those? But before I could ask her anything, Coco was gripping 2 screwdrivers, and then into the back of the statue. She began to carve the stone using the tip of the screwdriver. And within moments, the back of the statue was covered with gashes. It was incomprehensible. I just couldn't understand it. First she says the back looks lonely, and then she starts gouging it. For a while the kid and I just gazed at her with our jaws dropped. The kid yelled as he came back to his senses. Oh really? Etching some marks. I can tell that by watching you, Coco. That's not what I mean. The kid beat me to the question. She muttered in a tiny voice. She worked with great dexterity, using a screwdriver in each hand. The tips of the drivers dug into the stone, screeching and forming tiny grooves. The kid and I looked at each other. Coco looked back at her handiwork. The gashes had begun to take on a shape. It was a human form, like a stick person. Its tip formed a round head. Looking more carefully, I could see 2 unusual animal figures besides the human form. One of the shapes had a particularly large head. It was only half finished. Singing a cute little song, Coco continued to carve. She seemed entirely absorbed by what she was doing. Somehow, I could relate to her desire to throw herself into something. Hey, relax, kid. Now's not the time to be so uptight. Coco's into her work. You can't blame her.
よーし、次は
Because of her unsteady position on the pedestal, Coco suddenly lost her balance. Without hesitating, the kid jumped forward, steadying her body. He grabbed her by the hips to prevent her from slipping down and carefully lowered her to sit on the pedestal.
ありがとう。
足元気をつけてね。
あ、そうだ。翔ちゃんも一緒にやろうか。
え、
やろう一緒にやろう。ここんとこにね、翔ちゃんとマキを描いて、でね、この辺にハゲペンを彫ろうと思ってるんだ。はい、ドライバー1個貸してあげる。
あ、サンキュー。
Energized by Coco's enthusiasm, the kid took the screwdriver and mounted the pedestal to join her. Be careful not to fall yourself, kid.
大丈夫だよ。
Don't slip, Coco. Why don't you let me hold you up?
どうしようかな。
大丈夫だよ。
I was about to stretch my hands toward her, but the kid stopped me.
僕が支えるから。
The kid took hold of Coco's empty hand. While embracing the statue in a hug, Coco and the kid steadied each other, and using their free hands, they both began carving shapes. The statue didn't say a word, only stood silently pointing at the ceiling. A while later... There it is. What was left in stone was the carved images of 6 people and 2 animals. It was evidence of our existence here. Yeah, that afternoon. After a late lunch, I looked around but couldn't find you anywhere.
ユウ、食べ終わってすぐスバイトの警備室に行ったよ。
なんかね、マッキュー調べ物があるんだって。
Research? I wonder what that could be.
さあね。気になるならユウに直接聞いた方がいいんじゃないかな。
Yeah, I guess you're right.
ソラさんはどこ行ったの？
制御室に入ったままみたいだね。忙しいのかな。さっき端末で声かけてみたんだけど、取り込み中だからって。
As usual, Tsugumi was nowhere to be seen, but the sandwich I left at the kiosk was gone. Come to think of it, neither you, Sora, nor Tsugumi has said a word to me all morning. Something's up. I can tell. There. Okay, that's good enough for this part. A lot of things just happened. Bye!